What's up, everyone on the interwebs? This is Orlando, aka Odele on Twitter, and welcome to my first drip video. Basically, I'll be going over what the drip network is, a little bit about how it works, why it's unique and sustainable, in my opinion, and we'll look at some aspects of the community and resources that I think are important and helpful, especially for people just starting out, whether you're just looking into drip for the first time or you're relatively new to crypto and DeFi in general. Before I get too much into it, obviously, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial professional. You should do your own research. And I'll point you to a few places where you can do that. All right, let's get into it. So I am right now on the DRIP Network platform on the website. And I'm just going to look at the white paper, which you can access from here. So at drip.community, white paper link is right in the middle here. So if you click that, it'll bring you to this. And let's talk about DRIP. What is it? Basically, it is a platform where you make a deposit and you earn 1% on that deposit. Okay. And that's every day you earn that 1%. It also has a tax structure that helps keep it sustainable. And basically, these are taxes on essentially every transaction, with the exception of buying tokens or buying the DRIP token directly on the platform. So if you are making a deposit, you are making a claim, you're compounding, or you're buying, but buying outside of the platform. So let's say you're buying on PancakeSwap. All of those transactions generate taxes, which, you know, support the protocol, support the project, support the, you know, the earnings that we're making, that 1% per day. So I like that. I like that this is kind of sustainability minded. You know, that and going back to the 1% daily return. I mean, you've seen a lot of projects, I'm sure, that are showing returns on a daily basis that are higher than this, right? But a lot of those projects have not sustained. So I think, you know, with the combination of these features, DRIP is trying to be very sustainable. I'm going to go down to compound interest because that to me is the bread and butter of this whole project. You probably already know what compound interest is. I'm sure you learned about it in school, you know, and read up on it again as you were looking at investment opportunities. But basically in DRIP, you get compound interest by first having your initial deposit of DRIP tokens in the system. You're earning that 1% daily on it. And then those earnings, you can compound them manually back into your deposit. So when you compound, you take that amount that you've earned from that point between then and the last time that you compounded or deposited, those earnings get added into your deposit total, and then you're earning 1% on that going forward. So obviously, if you keep on doing that, you keep on compounding regularly, then you're really helping out your bottom line in the long run. There are, of course, other strategies, which I'll talk about later. And then going up one level here, there's the team building referral system. This is important because the only way to get into DRIP is to participate in the referral system. You have to use a buddy address or buddy ID, in other words, to you have to have that actually entered in the system before you can even make your first deposit. All right, let's move on. So throughout the entire white paper or light paper here, this is everything that's covered. We are mostly just going to focus on the faucet because that's really why you're here. And you hear people talking about DRIP and earning that 1% daily, and how that compounds over time, and you can have great, just awesome earnings after some time. They're talking about the faucet. So we're going to go ahead and focus on that. And you can read about other aspects on your own time if you'd like. So the faucet is a low risk, high reward contract that operates similarly to a high yield certificate of deposit. And what does that mean? Well, basically to me, you make your deposit and you're earning, again, you're earning that 1% daily. You're not pulling out that initial deposit. Okay. That's getting basically locked into the contract. Actually, it's going into the tax vault, but in any case, you put that in, it stays there. But from that point onward, you're earning 1% daily consistently all the way until you hit your max payout. Okay. So all the way you get, all the way until you get to this 365 of your deposit. Okay. Now, again, if you're compounding regularly, you're increasing your deposit balance, then that means you're increasing what that 1% translates into in terms of fiat, and of course, therefore, what that 365% maximum payout translates into in terms of fiat. Okay. I talked about the tax system a little bit. There's taxes on all of the transactions except for buys on the swap page, and we'll look at the swap page in a moment. As far as the referral system, again, it's important because that's how you get into DRIP. That's how you unlock the ability to make your first deposit. So you have to participate in that. But one of the strategies that you can use to accelerate your earnings and increase your earnings with DRIP is to build out a team under you through that referral system. Now, in order to do that, you do need to have two what's called DRIP tokens, or BR34P. They just call it DRIP. You need to have at least two in your wallet, the same wallet that you're using to interact with DRIP, in order to be able to receive rewards based on the actions of people on your team. So when people make their deposit, a certain percentage, can go to you as a bonus, but only if you have these DRIP tokens in your wallet. Okay. And you can read more about that in the white paper and various resources online. I know that, for me, I am just now starting to build out a team. I did not, even though I knew about this referral system early on, I've been in DRIP for several months now. I didn't start with building out my own team early on because honestly, buying the DRIP token was a little bit of a barrier to entry. I think right now they cost about $186 US per token. So that's, at a minimum times 2 of that in order to capture rewards from your team. So at the time, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to focus on just buying the DRIP tokens. There's, other projects that I was involved in, and I just didn't really have the funds available to do that. Now, because that can be a barrier to entry for some people who want to build out a team under them, I want to open up the conversation to people who are in that position where, like I just described about myself, where I wanted to do it, but just really couldn't at the time. engage me. Let's talk and let's see if there's a way to make that happen. Just today in my Telegram group, we were talking about helping people out, giving them the DRIP token and just, asking them to pay back in the future or something like that. I'm sure there's various ways we can probably work it out, but I think that it's important for people who want to grow out their teams to be able to do so. So that's one of the reasons I'm making this video. There's also an airdrop feature where you can gift DRIP tokens to members on your team. So basically just, a way for you to give back and build up referrals. All right. The last thing I want to look at, because I think it's important, is the whale tax structure. So this is separate from the transaction taxes in DRIP. This is a way for whales to be forced to kick back some of their rewards to the community and then also help maintain the sustainability of the project. The whale tax is a tiered system based on your balance of DRIP relative to the total supply. Okay, so when you're just starting out as a regular person, not a whale, you are probably going to be right here in this 0% bracket as far as the whale tax. That's where I was with every single one of my wallets when I started out. I think I'm probably still there right now, to be honest. And I have several wallets, by the way. You don't get to these higher tiers until or unless you accumulate a massive amount of DRIP, which is definitely possible if you stay with it and you're hydrated, especially if you're hydrating for a long time before you have to claim, and you're starting out with a reasonably significant amount of DRIP, although that's not as important as compounding. You can definitely get there. In fact, I'll show you a scenario in one of the calculators later, which is a very reasonable, modest start with one wallet. And by the end, if those calculations are accurate, I would be just barely hitting the highest whale tax tier at the end, like literally, I think the last few days of me being, before my wallet maxes out, that I would be at that point. So you can get there, like even a modest, investor can get there eventually. Now, yeah, that 50% seems high, but bear in mind, you would be making so much, your earnings at that point would be so high that 50% is not really going to hurt you. And it's helping the project survive. It's helping many other people be able to make it, just like you have made it, will have made it at that point. So just keep that in mind. All right, let's move on to the platform itself. So this is the DRIP network platform at drip.community. There's a little description here on the main page. And what you're going to want to do is come with your wallet. So whether that's a MetaMask or Wallet Connect or a Binance wallet, you're going to want to have your BNB tokens ready to go, because that is what you are going to swap into DRIP tokens. I clicked on the swap tab here, and that brings you here to where you can swap BNB for DRIP. Now, when you do that, there's a few things to keep in mind. Number one, you have to keep some BNB in reserves. All right. Now, in this example, I don't have a lot of BNB in this wallet, but nonetheless, I'm just putting a little bit less just to illustrate that you want to keep some BNB in your wallet, no matter what, because you're using BNB to pay for transaction fees on the network. This is not, I'm not talking about taxes in the DRIP platform. I'm talking about network gas fees. Okay. So keep BNB, some BNB in your wallet. The rest of the BNB that you don't need to keep in your wallet, that you're willing to spend on DRIP, go ahead and enter that amount into this field. It'll tell you down below what you can expect to receive in terms of DRIP. I would also recommend putting your slippage tolerance down to 1. I've never to date had the transaction not go through as a result of me lowering the slippage tolerance. So maybe that's just me, but give it a try. It can save you a little bit, in the process if you're able to do that. All right, so you go ahead, enter your, the amount of BNB that you want to put in order to get your DRIP. You click buy, approve the transaction in your wallet, and then voila, you've got DRIP tokens in your wallet. Now, before that, I should have said, you're going to want to make sure that when you're ready to make your deposit, you are getting at least 1 full DRIP token. Actually, you're going to want to get at least like 1.12 DRIP tokens at an absolute minimum, because you need to be able to deposit at least 1 DRIP token in order for that deposit to be successful. Now, a lot of people are going to deposit more than 1 DRIP token even when they're first starting out, because if we look at the price of DRIP right now, right, it's between 55 and 60, or I'm sorry, 55 and 56 dollars. So that's, pretty reasonable entry point for someone, even if you want to only start with 1 single solitary DRIP. A lot of people can comfortably do that and not feel that that's too risky or, way out of their budget or anything. Now, obviously, that also means it's going to be well within a lot of new investors' budget to start with multiple DRIP, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 DRIP. If you can do that, by all means do it, because you are going to be earning 1% on your deposit. Okay. And if your deposit balance is higher, then that 1% earnings translates into more, more money for you. All right. So let's say you have gone ahead and swapped and received your DRIP tokens. At that point, you can go to the faucet tab. And you need to make sure that you have a buddy before you begin. Now, in this view, because my wallet is connected, here, let me actually disconnect it for a minute. Actually, I'll refresh because that's not making it go away. I want to show you what the buddy section looks like when you do not have a buddy yet. All right, so when you come here and you don't have a buddy yet, there's this field. Well, first of all, there's this section, the Get a Buddy section here on the left. And then there's this field for you to enter a buddy address. You need to have a buddy in order to make a deposit. In fact, you need to do this before you make a deposit. Otherwise, it just won't work. I encourage you to use my buddy address, and I'll post that in the video description. But obviously, you can use any, the buddy address of anyone you want. You're going to find these listed in Medium articles. Sometimes people will post them on, Twitter or Reddit, or in the Telegram groups. So all these different places, there's going to be lots of people who are running teams or just starting teams, and they want you to join their team, and you need them, right? You need someone. So, go out there and find someone. Again, I encourage you to use me if you're getting some value out of this video. I really would appreciate it. And once you find your buddy, you copy their address, you paste it in here, click update. Do not click this other button down here. All right, we're not doing that. We're clicking update. The screen will refresh, and then you're going to see that buddy address that you entered down below. It's going to appear here under current buddy. So now I'm going to try and reconnect to my wallet. Oh, whoops. Sorry, I meant to do connect wallet. There we go. If I'm still logged in, it might have timed out. All right, I'll give that a minute. In any case, once you have your buddy updated, you can now enter your DRIP in the deposit box up here at the top. And the nice thing here is you can click the max button if you want, because there's no need for you to keep any DRIP in reserves in your wallet, because you're not paying gas fees in DRIP, you're paying gas fees in BNB. All right, so like we talked about earlier, you want to make sure you keep some BNB in your wallet, but DRIP, you can feel free to just max out and deposit all of it if you would like to. When you make that deposit, there is going to be a 10% tax on that. That's why I said you want to have at least 1.12, I think it was, DRIP. So when you deposit it, it comes out to one DRIP. The deposit that you make, so you're going to click deposit, you're going to approve the transaction. It's going to appear here in the deposits section, and it's going to show the equivalent amount of USDT under that. Now, we talked about depositing, or sorry, hydrating, which is compounding, and claiming. As far as strategies, there's a few ways you can play this. Essentially, you can compound on a regular basis. I would say if you have probably maybe over 20, 25, so right around what this wallet is that I'm working with right now. If you have around this amount of DRIP or more, I would suggest recompounding on a daily basis. Okay. If you have less, just because you're not going to be accruing as much per day relative to the gas fees and taxes that you're going to be spending in order to compound. So if you have less, you may want to potentially compound less frequently for a while until that balance builds up. You know, that has, I guess, some benefit in terms of savings early on for you. But in any case, if your goal is to maximize your earnings, you want to be hydrating on a regular basis. Okay, so make a schedule, whatever you need to do to make that happen. If your goal is to just cash out as quickly as possible, now remember, you're not actually just able to pull out your initial deposit, like the whole thing at once. The only way you get it back is, you know, a little bit at a time, that 1% per day. So you could claim, you could deposit and then just claim until you're done, until you max out your wallet. And that's fine. You'll get there, you know, quicker to your max payout, but your max payout will be less because you're not doing anything to increase your deposits over time. You're leaving your deposits the same, and meanwhile only claiming, you know, and selling what you are able to get in this available section every day. Okay, so that limits you a little bit, but you know, if you have a tighter timeline, then you know you would be able to do that in a year, you know, and be done with it. And again, 365% of, you know, a modest deposit is still good. It's still good. It's not, you know, it's not going to be nearly as much as if you let that deposit grow, right? But there's different ways to play it. Obviously, there's other information on this page as far as your referral rewards, which again, those would come from people on your team. If you have DRIP tokens in your wallet and people join your team, then you're getting, you know, rewarded from their deposits. This shows your max, what your max payout would be. So that's, 365% of your deposits. A number of people on your team, players on your team, what you've claimed so far. All of that information is there. All right. Now, let's move on to other aspects that are important. The surrounding community around DRIP. Now, a lot of people, including myself, got started by looking at things like articles online from people who are experienced in the DRIP space. So there's a couple of people and groups that I recommend. There's a lot of other ones out there, but these are two that I most highly recommend. One is Patrick Cryptozoa. He's got a bunch of articles. He's a good writer. Honestly, he's kind of a legend in the DRIP space. And his articles, like pretty much anyone else's, will have buddy addresses. And sometimes people will put in their own buddy address, and other times they'll, there's somebody else that they're working with who they want to promote, and they'll, put someone else's in there. And sometimes you can't even tell. It's just a buddy address and you don't know if it's from the author or someone they're affiliated with. In any case, that's a lot of times where people find their buddies. And also there, you might find links to Telegram groups this way as well. Another person I would suggest is Kelly Snook. Dr. Kelly Snook is extremely intelligent, and not only has she prepared some articles on Medium, she's also created my favorite calculator, my favorite DRIP calculator, and there's a tutorial that she made for it as well. I'll provide the links for those, but those are just a couple of people who I recommend. And actually, I'm going to show you Kelly's calculator really quick. So this is what it looks like. I'll provide a link for it. You are able to enter in information like, your total starting amount of DRIP, the number of wallets that you are going to split your investment into. So this right here would be a reasonable, I think, would be a reasonable start for someone just getting into DRIP with not a ton of initial capital, because we're just talking about 15 DRIP, and that's 15 times what was it, 55. But in any case, you can put in these numbers, to use whatever numbers you like. So you can put in the starting price here. This field is for the percent change in the DRIP price per day. So when I'm running these projections, I like to suggest that the price is going to decrease slightly throughout the time that I'm, involved in the project. I don't actually think that's what's going to happen with DRIP. I think by the time I'm done, that there's going to be a pretty significant net increase in the DRIP token price. But this is me just kind of playing it safe with my projections. So do whatever you want here. You can do a positive, number or price growth. You can do a negative number or decrease, or you can say 0, which means the starting price would be the same as the end price. And then you can put your correct starting date here if you like. And there's links down below here for the tutorial video on how to use the calculator, and her article, one of her articles, and then a way to engage her on Telegram. All right, so once you have all that information, all your inputs in, if you change anything, it'll take a few seconds for the spreadsheet to update, and then you'll see, it'll spit out all these numbers. What's your total 6-year net after selling your DRIP at that point? What's your gas fees over the course of 6 years? What can you expect for that? Now, mind you, this is all based on what strategy you employ. So obviously these inputs here, but that's not strategy. Those are just, different inputs. But the strategies, if you go to the hydration template, Kelly has 10 different strategies here. Scroll to the top so you can see what I'm talking about. Each one of these strategies is explained here. This one, number 2, is pretty common for people who want to maximize their earnings. And, you know, and if you're okay with having that window not be, you know, just like a year or 2, but more like, you know, 3, 4, or 5 years, then, you know, that's a common one. The way that you plug these templates or plug these strategies into the calculator is you pick a strategy, okay? Click on the top number. By the way, these numbers mean something. 1 means hydrate, 0 means claim, and then 2 or other numbers mean days that you don't do anything. So anyway, you click on the top number in the column, scroll all the way down to the bottom, Control, or rather Shift, select, copy, and you go over to the Wallets tab, and you go to the very top and left. Make sure that you're scrolled all the way up and all the way to the left. And then you're going to click on the cell immediately to the left of this highlighted one, just to make sure that you're at the top there. And that's where you paste. And then from there, it'll fill downward, you know, with everything that you had copied from the hydration template tab. And that's your strategy. So this one, you're basically just hydrating for a long period of time. And then eventually, you know, there comes a point when you have to start claiming in order to make sure that you get your, you know, maximum benefit out of it. Now, based on what you put in, you'll see, you know, all of this information down to the day and month and year, as far as what the total available per day will be at any point, you know, in your journey. So this is at, I've got day 714 highlighted. At that point, based on my inputs and everything else, there would be $5,671 available per day before the 10% claim tax. Now, mind you, I've just been hydrating according to this strategy, so I haven't actually taken anything out. So when I look at my claims here, my total withdrawn, that's 0 because I have not taken anything out. That's just with compounding. But if I scroll down to when I do start claiming, which happens in this case, on day 805 is my first claim. At that point, I'm able to earn, you know, or rather draw, the value of my draw post-tax after selling is over 88,000, or sorry, over 8,800 per day. And at that point, keep in mind, I would be claiming on a daily basis. So start claiming at that point, everyday claim, everyday claim. You see that net total draw increasing into past $1 million mark. Now I've hit this red here. So that's basically that's the limit of your wallet. Once you hit 100,000 DRIP claimed, then your wallet's done. You cannot participate in the contract anymore. You're done. You can start another wallet. Actually, you can run multiple wallets at a time, but in any case, so at that point, as of February 6, 2025, this would project that I have $1,798,000. Okay. So this is, again, just based on what I've entered into the system in terms of DRIP price, everything else. That's the projection. So I'd encourage you to play with the calculator and try what'll be really interesting, I think, for you, for anyone. Try a similar strategy or even the same strategy, but try it with different wallets. You know, you're going to know kind of what your starting budget is. So probably in terms of being realistic, your total starting deposit here, you know, wouldn't change very much, but you can split it across various wallets. So see what it does when you change it to, you know, you keep the same starting DRIP or keep it similar and then increase the number of wallets. I'll let you play with that and figure that out. I had a lot of fun with that. It was part of the reason why I ended up adding multiple wallets myself. All right, let's go back to kind of the community around DRIP. So aside from the Medium articles, which again, that's a way that you will get connected with a buddy potentially, if you're not using mine, but also Telegram groups, so, and Twitter, of course. So on Twitter, right now we're looking at Forex Shark. He's the main brain behind the DRIP ecosystem. You'll see some posts from here, or sorry, from him in here, but for the most part, you'll see announcements and things and direct community engagement in the Telegram, in the main Telegram groups. So I believe I've mostly seen him in the Animal Farm Telegram group lately. But in any case, you know, there's that one, and there's a few other large groups in the DRIP ecosystem. So I keep saying that ecosystem because I'm talking not at this point, not only about the DRIP faucet, but there's also the Animal Farm and the DRIP Garden, for example. So, you know, just to be aware that there's all these groups out there. As you can see, I'm in a number of different groups. Most of them are DRIP related in one way or another. The one that I have highlighted right now, the DRIP Lounge, that is the group that I'm currently in. That is the group that I'm going to invite you to you know, join and check out. I'll provide a link to that. The link is right there, but I'll list it in the video description as well. So our group is a little bit smaller than you know, a lot of the big groups out there. But we are just as helpful. There's guys in here who are just as knowledgeable, and you know, you have an opportunity to escape some of the craziness of the large groups, not just because the other groups are big, but unfortunately, I've seen firsthand how easy it is for people to get banned in some of the other groups. And we're trying to not be like that. Obviously, we want people to be respectful, but you know, if you have concerns about, you know, DRIP or whatever is on your mind kind of in this space, that's okay. We want to provide a space where people can speak their mind freely. So that's what we're trying to encourage. And then our other main focus is building out teams. So right now we're building out the core team. So I'm one of the core team members. I'm an admin in this group. So you're, you know, definitely free to bug me anytime. And then, you know, from there, the goal is to build out the teams of anyone else who, you know, who joins under us, and, you know, we'll help support you. So we can talk strategy. We can, you know, if the BREAP tokens are a barrier for you, we can talk about that and see if there's a way, you know, to help you get your hands on those. You know, we're willing to try and do whatever we can to help everyone win, because helping us or helping you helps us. And, you know, it goes both ways. And we just want to kind of spread this opportunity to as many people as possible. So with that being said, I think that's a good place to leave this video. Thank you for watching. Please like it. I don't have a lot of videos right now, and I'm still kind of thinking about if I want to do more of these, but if you'd like me to do more, you know, this is kind of more of a regular guy perspective. Let me know. You know, you can comment, you can subscribe, and that'll kind of clue me in as to, you know, maybe I should keep doing this. In either case, I really hope that you'll consider adding me or using me as your buddy, whether you're starting for the first time or you're just starting a new DRIP wallet. And that's all I've got for you today. Happy dripping. Take care.